gentlemen, we are back here on Starting 502 on the State of Louisville Podcast Network. I am not Presley Meyer, a lot more handsome than him. Jacob Lane stepping in tonight for a great episode as Louisville basketball and the world of basketball around us continues to spin, churn out content, covering it year-round here on the Starting 502 podcast. Be sure to subscribe anywhere you get your shows. You can find us on all audio platforms as well as YouTube, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button right below us. I'm joined by my good friend and friend of the show. You all know him very well, Alan Thomas. Alan, how you doing, buddy? It's good to see you. The beard looks beautiful.
Does it? I just trimmed it. I appreciate that. I was just admiring yours. I am a beard admirer, so our guest's beard looks amazing too, nice and trim. Not gray yet.
Right, exactly. That is fantastic. And of course, we are joined by friend of the show, going on 3 years in a row here. This is a tradition unlike any other in sports. As TBT gets underway and we transition out of Louisville basketball heavy content, we're not taking any time off here. There are no days off. We continue with the exciting summer that is TBT and the Ville. Obviously, the last 2 years have not gone the way that Louisville has wanted, getting to the championship, not being able to compete in the Final Four. But we saw last year them take a massive step getting to the regional finals in Louisville. And tonight we're going to talk about all that plus so much more as we look ahead to 2025 as we're joined by Andrew Zoldan of Inside TBT and our good friend from the TBT. How we doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. This is the best time of the year when we can start, talking some TBT and the calendar officially shifts. So I'm a Ohio State, Missouri, Cleveland Browns, Chicago Bulls, and LeBron fan. I don't really watch a lot of baseball. So my off season just finally kicked off right in time for TBT to heat up.
Yeah. Your regular sports teams are all in Cancun, as they would say. So you are, but you're not. You are ready. You are locked in. We've got player announcements left and right. We've got news all around. We're talking all kinds of big, exciting things for TBT. So there is no better time for Andrew to step in and talk about what to expect in 2025, and of course, look back a little bit on 2024. So how are you? How's your off season been? Did you accomplish any new hobbies? Take up any new traveling adventures? What have you been up to, man?
So 2 things. One, I used to have a bottle of Mr. and Mrs. Bourbon right here, and I finished that bottle. So
that's
that was
great.
A big accomplishment. And 2, I did get married, so that's the
Congrats.
big off-season checklist. Yeah.
Yes. That is bigger than the $1 million prize, as they would say.
One of us.
There, that gift.
One of us.
Yeah.
That's right, man.
Yeah,
so how is that? Are you adjusting to the wedding ring? Because I opted to go no wedding ring tattoo. I couldn't do it. Just was constantly kind of spinning it. My finger is not consistently the same size. I don't know if you drink beer, lose weight. That's kind of the lifestyle that I've accomplished. So the ring falls off, whatever. I lose it. Can't play sports. What are you rocking on the ring there?
I'm rocking the ring right now.
Okay.
I may get like a silicone version. I might get the silicone version, but right now I've just been taking it off when I play basketball or like lifting weights. But I definitely fidget with it a little bit. But I got this nice gold one right here. I like
looks
wearing
good.
it. I like wearing it, so I show it off.
Wearing it loud and proud. Alan, what do you got? You got a wedding ring over there? You got a tattoo? You got nothing? What do you got?
I'm like exactly what he was saying was what happened with me. Like I play ball every day. I get older, every day too, so it gets harder to do. But I like to play basketball. So I got this thing comes off. It's getting a little loose now, but it is silicone. The one like that we all love that we get in our weddings was kind of hurting me, and you can't really dribble. Like it would fly off. I'm super sweaty when I play basketball, so it just flies in the yard. I've actually lost my replacement that way. So I just have the wedding ring sitting aside. It's in the room, put away, nice and safe.
There you go. Well, that is the wedding ring talk that everyone came here for.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little basketball, man.
I was going to say, Andrew, this wasn't a planned question, but you say you play basketball and stuff. You look to be in pretty good shape. I know Jacob's in great shape. How often do you play? Are you in any leagues? What's your
Great question. I played every Wednesday for 3 years straight. I was in this league. It was like a pickup league. Same 12 guys get first right of refusal. One of those leagues where you play with the same
this is
group.
Serious pickup.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And I took a break from Thanksgiving until after my honeymoon. So from like Thanksgiving to mid-March, because I was like, I'm not twisting an ankle, limping down the aisle, anything like that. So I got to play 2 sessions before I hurt my shoulder. Now I'm back on the injured reserve, nursing this shoulder injury. Hope to be ready in time for a little TBT staff game action.
Oh, okay. That's fun.
But I love playing basketball. I play when I'm healthy all the time. I just signed up for another pickup league that was like on Sunday, so I was hoping to go Wednesday, Sunday, and now my shoulder just has derailed that plan of revamping back up to 2 times a week. But I love playing. I've played basketball my whole life, obviously, and Jacob, I'm sure you've seen it at TBT. When there's a break in the games, I'm lucky enough to sometimes get to be able to go out there and shoot a little bit.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
You know, it takes everything in me when I see you out there to not just like the little kid in me to dart out there and want to shoot around with you, because I'm not trying to be the guy that gets arrested, local media arrested for trying to shoot hoops on the court. So that's a great privilege of your job, is being able to get out there on some of these nice, floors from Freedom Hall to, I'm sure you've traveled around.
I got to tell you.
Where's the best place you've played?
Well, played pickup at Rupp last year.
Okay.
And even as Louisville fans, you have to acknowledge that would be cool to do. And there was no Kentucky fans in the crowd, no opposing fans in the crowd.
Even better.
So it was very cool playing pickup at Rupp. So that was cool. Trying to think, when I was in high school, we had a game where we played at the Milwaukee Bucks old arena, and we played. And then the varsity team played, and then the Bucks played 4 hours after that.
Oh, yeah. So you opened for the Milwaukee Bucks. I would be putting that on my resume.
But it was 4, the gates were not open besides to our parents and stuff. So I would say Rupp Arena and the Milwaukee Bucks Arena. I forget what it was called at the time. Now it's Pfizer Forum. It's a different building. Those are my 2 favorite places I've ever played. And I didn't go to Rupp I didn't go to Rucker Park when TBT was there a few years ago. That would be cool to play at Rucker Park.
Yeah,
that's bucket list basketball right there, man.
Yeah.
First of all, to be able to play basketball outside, need more outside TBT. What do we do to get more outside TBT? We got the Dirt Bowl. I don't know how much you know about the Dirt Bowl in Louisville, Andrew. But we got the Dirt Bowl out here that could 100% host at least a 1-game type of deal in Louisville.
Yeah, one game.
Listen, it's a logistical nightmare to play outside because of the rain, and we had to move games inside when we were at Rucker Park, and I am against that idea of more games outside, and the players obviously they don't love it if they can avoid it. It's cool. Maybe we can do a La Familia versus the Ville pre-tournament tune-up game. What's it called? The Dust Bowl?
The Dirt Bowl. The Dirt Bowl.
Dirt Bowl.
Yeah,
the Dirt
iconic Bowl. Dirt Bowl, man. Yeah, absolutely. I love that. But you know where we will be playing basketball for sure is Freedom Hall. How about that? What do we think about coming back to Louisville? Where, Andrew, you already kind of planning your visit?
I'm trying to go a lot of places this summer. I think I'm going to hit Indy, the Ville, and Lexington at least, and that's just prior to the quarterfinals. We'll see where quarterfinals are. So I'm definitely planning my visit. I will definitely be there for round 2. Round 2 is potentially it's Louisville in the morning, Lexington at night, or vice versa. I forget what the schedule is. So that's a crazy day on, I want to say, the 20th of June or of July is round 2 for the Ville. And, I actually think we can confirm at this point that if there's a quarterfinal game that the Ville is participating in, it will be in Louisville. If there's a semifinal game, it will be in Louisville. And if there's a championship that the Ville is participating in, at this time, I think we can safely say it will be in Louisville because they were the first team to get those 4,000 tickets sold for the region, which is awesome, but not surprising.
Yes.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. That is fantastic. I want to give a big shout out to the team. They've done a great job building the roster, which we're going to get into here in a second, of course, of engaging media here locally, already holding a press conference and talking about this with legends up there at the mic. We're back for year 3, Andrew, and you can just sense the anticipation is growing here to finally get it done. It was so close last year. And to come up short the way that they did against their rival, which sets up, an even better storyline for you all. I'm sure as marketers and advertisers over there at TBT and trying to sell tickets in Louisville, let's lean into that a little bit because it's getting spicy and it's great basketball. in iconic Freedom Hall. And Alan, I know, you're going to be the czar for State of Louisville TBT. I mean, you got to be excited about being able to sleep in your own bed every single night covering the Ville.
Oh, it's amazing. And I'll tell you, like, I mean, growing up, going to games at Freedom Hall when I was a kid, like, I probably became a fan in the mid to late 80s, right after the 86 championship. So it's special just seeing it being used. I know there's upgrades and things happening there. So this is a place in 2010 when Louisville took over, or when the Yum Center took over as the home arena. I thought they would bulldoze it, to be honest with you, because they bulldozed the old Cardinal Stadium. So it's just so nice to have this. I mean, it's a dream come true, and I love covering it. Andrew, is there a place like that from your childhood that you went, like an arena from your past that you reach back and kind of holds dear like Freedom Hall does to all of us?
Like I said, I'm a Bulls fan, so I grew up watching Derrick Rose at the United Center, and I feel like eventually there will be a new United Center only because that's what happens. You don't see it coming, and all of a sudden your team's building a new arena. So
Sure.
I don't have that yet. But as I mentioned, also, I'm a Cleveland Browns fan. They're talking about moving the Browns stadium elsewhere. So, like, I feel like that's about to happen to me as a Browns fan. And then, maybe 20, 30 years from now as a Bulls fan as well. But I actually am, like, a big fan of watching your own team on the road. I think it's very fun, very enjoyable, and the feeling of, and Kentucky fans, unfortunately for you all, got to feel this last year, like knocking off a rival or knocking off like a big matchup on the road is awesome. So while it is great for the Ville and for Louisville fans that, they'll be hosting potentially all the way through the championship, I mean, that feeling of beating a team on the road, it's like the Mount Rushmore of sports sounds is like that home team crowd when they were just like stunned at the buzzer.
Oh yeah.
Or something like that. I think it happened to the Cavs last night or 2 nights ago, whatever it is, depending on when this releases. Like stunned, and it's just like you can't believe it. So I don't have any places like that yet, and I hope I don't for a long time.
Yeah. What have you thought of? What's been your experience with Freedom Hall? Coming in as someone outside of Louisville, and obviously that being known as an iconic building. Like, what have your all's thoughts, and how has TBT as an organization kind of looked at Freedom Hall in terms of just building the culture of TBT and that fan experience that this tournament with such high stakes like offers overall?
I just can't believe how fucking big Freedom Hall is. Like, I forget what it was. It was like 8,000 fans that the Ville had. There was like one of the games that wasn't the Kentucky game, but it was either top 3 or whatever it was fan attendance.
Yeah, it was the first game. I'm fairly certain.
Yeah,
first or second game.
And there was still like a huge section that was empty, and I was just like, and not in a bad way, but it's just like, how are there still open seats in this place? And then obviously we got La Familia versus the Ville, and there were not any open seats, but it's like, you could still get more seats in there. We had last year, like the Mr. and Mrs. Bourbon Lounge. Like there's that whole area where you walk in. Like if the Final Four was at Freedom Hall, for example, they would get another 10,000 seats in there or whatever it is, 7,000 seats. So I can't believe how big the actual arena part of it is. And then you walk through and it's even 10 times as big with all the other stuff that they have there with the convention center. And then across the street is a little mini Disney World, which is probably my favorite part of Freedom Hall. I couldn't believe the first time I pulled up and there was an
amusement park right
across the street.
Right.
Like
you're looking at your watch. You're like, you said we got a break from 3 to 4. All right, bet I can get all those roller coasters in. Absolutely.
Yeah. Like theoretically, if you were in Freedom Hall, you could, theoretically spit to that amusement park. Not that anything like that happens at Freedom Hall, but theoretically, if you were at Freedom Hall, you could spit and it would land at the amusement park.
It's funny you say that because I've always thought about, we have Louder Than Life here, which is the largest hard rock festival in the world. And so that happens, it takes place like on the side or right behind Freedom Hall, like in a big field. I always thought it would be funny, like what if like all these people came and like they saw a bunch of like hard rock fans walking around. Like if it happened at the same time as Louder Than Life, it would never work logistically, but I think that would just be so hilarious. Like all walks of life walking around that place.
I think you need like if you win TBT, you go across, like You know how they go to Disney World when
Yeah, you just go ride the roller
Like,
coaster.
you just got to go right to the amusement park
Go-
after you win TBT.
Yeah, it's called Kentucky Kingdom. But it's changed names so many times that I went back with Kentucky Kingdom.
It's not Mr. and Mrs. Bourbon's Kingdom yet.
Mr. and Mrs. Bourbon's.
They
That's
didn't
what we're
get
going
the
to name
naming
it.
rights?
That's what we'll name it after the Ville wins TBT and shuts it down at Freedom Hall as the champions of the Louisville Regional. That's exactly what we'll do.
Yeah.
But kudos to Louisville fans. I really honestly, with the excitement of what happened this year compared to when we talked last year, and especially compared to when we talked 2 years ago, it's been TBT was like we the first year, like, oh my God, we have to have winning basketball, right? Year 2 last year, it's like, all right, Pat Kelsey and your team, you watch what this what this fan base can be. And this year, it's kind of like the worlds combined. Pat Kelsey's now built potentially a top 10 roster in college basketball. You're talking about Montrezl Harrell being back for TBT 2025. I mean, there's just so much excitement here, and things are going to be fantastic. But let's start with Montrezl Harrell. I think that's a great place to start. I'm going to keep it real with you, and I think Montrezl would keep it real with you as well. And I know you've talked to him last year. Just looking at it top to bottom, excited to have him back. The energy he brought was off the charts. He was incredible to be around. The way he embraced the city was beautiful. But my gosh, was he out of shape. Let's just call a spade a spade. He was not the Montrezl Harrell that we knew and loved. Coming off of an ACL tear, coming out of the league, all that Montrezl went through last year compared to this year, it's a complete 180. He's been playing in the NBL, which is arguably one of the top 5 leagues in the world. He is back in kind of his shape, or at least what he is in his 30s. What did you think of him last year, and what are you anticipating for Montrezl Harrell this year for the Ville?
So, you know how I said I can't believe there's still open seats at Freedom Hall?
Yeah.
Because it's so big. I couldn't believe how good Trez still was despite all the things that you just said. I mean, maybe he was like a little slower, but he didn't really seem like tired at any point.
Yeah.
He just maybe seemed like he was a step slower. And he said this to me when I talked to him. He was like, I need to be better this year. I will be better this year. I am in better shape this year. So my expectations for him are to be, I don't want to say significantly better because I do really think he was great last year, but I expect that like
top 5 player in the tournament, top to bottom.
I expect that like he'll look a lot more like Karam Cantor did for La Familia last year, where like it was double, no question, basically every game. And Karam Cantor, steps out a little bit more and takes the 3, but like Trez was so big last year, and I think he rounds it out a little more this year. Like I think we see a couple. All right, what you want my big prediction yet?
Yes,
or not
your
yet?
Annual Andrews 100% lock prediction here on Starting 502 podcast. That's what we need right here. Certified.
What was
prediction.
last year's? What was last year's?
Oh man, put me on the spot.
You know what?
I think
last
it wasn't Kyle Keurig. It was Keurig, wasn't it?
It was,
and
Keurig,
then he dropped out like a
didn't
week
end up
later.
Playing, yeah.
So
what do we think? Am I bad luck or
No. I think we're 1 for 1 in my books. Last year was a scratch overall. Like you couldn't have predicted the circumstances. So I'm going to give you a scratch. So we're going for year 2, 100% right here. What do we got? What is the Stone Cold Andrew prediction for 2025 TBT in Louisville?
Well, to put a bow on the Trez conversation, opening game for Trez and TBT this year, 22-8. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
David Johnson, Elam Ender in that game. So Trez 22-8, but clear out for DJ game winner. Trez advances the bracket tag.
Yeah.
And so Trez 22-8, amazing game. We put up a TBT stat graphic for it.
Mm-hmm.
But DJ Elam Ender in that first game. What do we think?
I love it.
I love it. Yeah.
I see it. I could totally see it. 100%. I'm buying into it. Right now, I would take that as a futures bet all day long if those odds were available.
We don't know who they're playing. We don't know what the rest of the team's going to be at this point.
We don't need it.
Tell you.
We don't need it.
Going 22-8. DJ.
I love it.
22-8. So specific. I'll throw in 4 assists. How about that? That's a lot.
You know what?
You're like, I'm not going that far.
I was going to say 22-8-2, but when you have like 2 assists, you don't usually include that in the stat line.
Yeah, right. You got to get closer to 5 to include.
So
I'll go 22-8-2.
22-8-2.
And if that happens, we'll put it in the stat line for you.
Yes.
great.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the I'm here for it, man. All right, there you have it. If you're taking notes right now, there is your stone cold prediction of what to expect in 2025 from Montrezl Harrell. I love to see it.
Yeah. So I guess a couple things that I was curious about from your end. So we know about Louisville's taking the 4,000 ticket race, assumably, presumably. Things have kind of really ramped up here in the last 2 or 3 years since we even got a team. I've been all 3 years, only covered it last year and now covered it again this year. But even as a fan, you could tell there was something in the air, even in year one. So in your, I guess, in your humble opinion, or not even, doesn't have to be humble, in your opinion, like, what do you think the reason for the explosion around here is with TBT? Why Louisville? Why is it so huge here?
Well, one, basketball in the state of Kentucky is so massive, as we saw last year. But Louisville fans are unbelievable. It's similar to Nebraska football, where it's like, this is what the city has. There's not an NBA team. There's not an NFL team. There's Louisville sports. You got the soccer teams, of course, but different level than Louisville basketball and Louisville football. Sidebar, I can't believe the support for Louisville football. We just, with the different accounts that I run and TBT account, like, we see so much of that support for the football team, which I think is super cool. But
Yeah.
the biggest reason, number one reason, and it's like this model works every time we do it, is if the regular team, the college basketball team, is struggling, the TBT team has an amazing opportunity to come in, take some of that market share, remind fans of the glory days, and then also it's a great opportunity for, Pat Kelsey to come in and say, this is what I want to do with the program. These guys are so important to me. The alumni matter. Like that, we caught the right wave of Louisville basketball was down. No one's gonna deny that, obviously.
Sure. Yeah.
The people were yearning for some Russ Smith, right? Like, what cures your blues more than bourbon and Russ Smith? Those, I can't think of any two things that would like help sad Louisville fans more than those two things right there. And we saw it also with Kentucky last year. It wasn't a down year for Kentucky, but Calipari left, took a new job. So they rallied behind Willie Cauley-Stein, Eric Bledsoe, the Harrison twins, all these alumni, and Mark Pope went to the game. Mark Pope said, La Familia has my full support. It's like, it's the perfect opportunity when the teams are going through something, for lack of a better way to put it. And we don't seek out those teams that are going through something, but sometimes, I know Jake Pavorsky, who heads up our teams department and PR, like, he had been trying to get a Louisville team in TBT for 10 years. He'd been trying to help make that happen. And finally it got to the point where it was like, okay, no, we need this now. From the city and the school, we need this now, more than ever. So I really do think that it's like, was the perfect storm of fans are incredible, and the people need some Russ Smith and Peyton Siva. I mean, it's like, it's not like it was, and I know you want these guys for the team, Jordan Nwora, Carly Jones, etc. But like those guys, it's just, there's something about, once you hit 10 years, it's like nostalgia. It's just like the 10-year, and it's like there's something about teams from 10 years ago that you get the nostalgia.
Well, in year one, right, you roll out a team that includes several national champions in Peyton and in Russ, and even Shane and Wayne were welcomed back, and obviously with Shane, had the legal issues, kicked off the team at the end of his career, but was able to come back. You have Luke Hancock, even like with just barely any basketball body left, like gets out there, plays a hell of a 2 minutes worth of defense, gets his final one-time cheer, cheer off to the bench, and now is kind of grandfathered in as the head coach of the team. And so,
I gotta stop you. He is not grandfathered into this thing. He wants this thing, and he convinced me he is the man for the job.
Yeah,
like,
I believe it.
It's not just like, oh, I've been a part of this program for a while, I'm in town, with the radio, like, I know these guys. Like, he is like, I'm the goddamn head coach of this team. Like, I'm gonna find the guys that are gonna fit the way we want to play, You know, so like he's not, you know, the stepdad. He's the dad that stepped up for this team. You know, like he's not just doing it, he's doing it, if that makes sense. I know that sounds stupid, but like he is so fired up to be the head coach of this team. He's doing media stuff. He's pushing people to get to the 4,000 because he also knows how impactful the crowd is and how meaningful that will be. And like it's 3 points in the Elam ending, the home team advantage. I think that's safe to say. Last year, they go on a 7-0 run in the Elam ending against Sideline Cancer. Like that home environment is like, it's powerful. And so to wrap that up, Luke is like all in on this and he's ready to rock with it. And I think he's going to be a great coach this year.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he's, you know, it's not like he's not necessarily, I wouldn't put him in the legendary category, but I would definitely put him in like a special box like around here because of how he came in and commandeered. You know, he became a captain. So what you're saying, it's like everything we know about Luke. That fits exactly what you just said. That is who he is. You know,
I can't believe Jacob's such a big Luke hater. I didn't know that.
Right? Yeah, that's what they've been saying about me for years, right? Somebody once said we looked alike, and I'm like, never again. You know, no. But in all honesty, he was. You know, he played year one, was an assistant on the team. You know, was involved heavily last year. You know, with Reese Gaines being here, and now steps into a head coaching role. Has Peyton around to kind of be, you know, a big portion of connecting the Louisville organization and Louisville team to this team. And of course, Luke has been around, you know, covering the team with radio and has great connections. Also, you know, played during the prime of the Patino era, where there is just a number of guys that they could reach out to and add to the roster. And I got to be honest with you. One thing I walked away saying last year, and I don't know if you would agree with this, but I felt Louisville is not going to win, and this might be a bit of a once again, you're going to be like, God, man, you really do hate this team. But I felt like Louisville had to add outside folks from that weren't former Cardinals to advance this team and get them to the championship. I felt that even with how good they were at times, that roster felt like it needed more punch. It needed more star power. And this year they reach outside of guys who actually wore the jersey. Now, Scrubb and David Sloan, both are guys who are from here, 502 guys through and through, but ultimately their careers led them elsewhere. And Jay, you know, had the opportunity to come in and be a huge portion of this team, but how could you pass up being drafted into the NBA? And now he joins this team, and I think that he's the kind of guy, well, he is a Cardinal, but wasn't a Cardinal, that can put this team over the edge. And I think some of the guys you got to bring in, what I'm seeing, and I don't know what you think on this, but you got to bring guys that aren't necessarily alumni in to really build more than just depth. They got to be some stars in the mix there.
I think Trez is going to be better. I think Russ is going to be better. And David Johnson was great, but he had some lapses. So like right there, you got your three alumni. I think Scrubb's going to be really good.
Oh yeah.
And I think they're like Peyton will be the first to tell you last year, like he was hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. But he played, man. He played. Right. They needed him too. In game 2, I believe, game 3. I mean, they needed him. They had to have him out there.
I think every Louisville TBT game in the last 2 years was like Peyton might not be able to play tonight. Like every single round of the 2 years.
Hey, life in your 30s is, hey, I may not be able to play
tonight.
Right.
So like what I mean by that is like, and this is no disrespect to Peyton Siva because he's unbelievable. It's like no matter who you're going to put in those Peyton Siva minutes, he's hopefully not going to be hurt, you know? And I mean, Peyton was like diving everywhere on the ground. Like he was still doing Peyton stuff in the minutes he was playing.
Absolutely.
But like Scrubb is now a guy and Sloan as well, where it's like, okay, these are younger guys. These are guys who are in basketball playing shape. Right. Siva year 1, I think, had just come off playing, but year 2, he was not. He was a coach. Right. You know, so these are 2 guys who are active that have enough Louisville ties for me to say, you're a Louisville guy, you know?
Yeah.
And like they're going to be impactful, and it's a little addition by subtraction without Peyton, but not because of who Peyton is as a player, but just because of like I just said, he wasn't playing
right
and ramping up and getting ready, you know? So, but I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with him Peyton's staff-wise, but, like, that's a brilliant basketball mind right there. I got to go to one of the Ville's practices last year. We did some content with the team, and he's, like, the ultimate conductor. Like, even not in the game, he's like, Trez, you're supposed to be here. Russ, you got to be there. You know, like, this is a guy telling NBA veterans, you got to move over here. Telling Russ Smith, who doesn't take shit from anyone, you got to be over there.
Right.
You know, so, like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
it's no surprise that he's on Pat Kelsey's staff, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's involved with the Ville staff as well, but he's a brilliant basketball mind. But to answer your question, the additional guys are going to be very valuable. I'm interested to see if, like, Mayo and Dow and those guys, the other non-alums,
Right.
are back. But you would think that Scrubb and Sloan are your two non-Louisville guards, essentially, like they had in the past with Pruitt and Dow. So we'll see
And I
how
think-
the roster shakes out. I wouldn't be surprised if those guys are on the roster just because they're big parts of.
You get,
But-
you get better if they're not guys that have to come in and play a ton of minutes. I mean, no disrespect
Right.
to the names you mentioned, but I think these are upgrades. I think I think this is a big step in years evolving your roster and getting better to compete with what you see. And against La Familia, and even a little bit against Sideline Cancer and DRC, you saw areas of weakness within that roster where Peyton had to come in and he had to carry you for 7 minutes. Montrezl Harrell had to take over a game in the final 2 minutes of the third quarter into the Elam ending. So you had to have these moments where guys dominated, and that's fine. But if you look at Carmen's crew, if you look at Boeheim's Army, if you look at all across the board with these teams, there's guys that 4 or 5 guys, that can take over a game and can win it for you. And I think with Jay Scrubb, look, playing in the G League, has been in the NBA the last couple of years, really has been dealt some unfortunate injury early in his career. Jay could be the MVP of this tournament. That might be my hot take for the show to try to get up to where you are, Andrew. Jay Scrubb could be the best player in this tournament, and nobody will be talking about him entering being one of those names. Who are some other big names outside of the Louisville team? We'll come back to Louisville in just a second to wrap the show up. But who are some other big names? Who are some other, the Shaqs of the world getting involved in TBT? Like, what's getting you out of bed excited for TBT every single day right now?
Announced today officially, Jason Preston is going to play with
Okay.
the Ohio team.
Whoa, I love that, man. I
That's
love Jason Preston.
that's the guy who, for those of you who
Smooth.
don't know, not
Yeah.
you guys, but for those of you who don't know, was on the Ohio team that beat Virginia, went
Yep.
on to get drafted by the Clippers, played NBA for a couple years. Now
He was in the league this year, man. Was with
Yeah.
the Jazz on a two-way
Yeah.
this year.
So he's playing with the Ohio team, which, like, that's my prisoner of the moment. That's the best player in TBT this year from a guard standpoint.
Okay,
is-
I like
is
that.
Jason Preston.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I mean, he's unbelievable. And then you look at some of the other teams that we've announced. The host teams. The Harrison Twins were really, really good last year. Willie
were.
Cauley-Stein was really, really good last year.
So
He was.
good.
But you look at Willie, who I don't think I don't know what kind of season he played this year. These guys, sometimes they play like a month somewhere, so I'm
Yeah.
not sure what
Hey,
Willie
man.
ended up doing, but we'll be interested to see. I'm
We
trying to
cannot let La Familia get John Wall. That's the one thing. We got to stay away. John's been talking
think-
about
Why
trying
not-
to make it
Well, the
come
Ville's
back to
got to
the NBA.
go get him then.
But that's cool with me. Hey, look, I'll cross over to the dark side for that one, right? Even in
Yeah.
his later years. But John Wall is a guy who could walk in and probably be just sensational for them. And he's
Oh,
available.
yeah,
Wants
I
to
mean,
play ball.
I didn't know we were talking. I mean, we'll get Melo on Boeheim's Army. Oh,
Right.
Buddy Boeheim. Buddy
Yeah.
Boeheim. That's
Heck yeah,
another
man.
one.
Hey,
He's
hey,
he's
that's
going to
a
be
shooter
awesome.
right there.
I mean, we really haven't announced. There haven't been too many announcements yet, but Eric Stevenson on Best Virginia,
Yeah.
he was announced this week. He's awesome. He played. So what's crazy about him is he played fresh out of college and was awesome. Then played in the G League for a year and didn't play TBT. And now he's going to play TBT again this year after 2 years of being in the G League. So that's a guy who right out of college was awesome.
Yeah.
And now you put him in after 2 years of pro experience. So, like, Jason Preston, my way too early all-tournament team of just guys we've announced. Jason Preston, I'll give you Scrubb, Trez,
Like it. Yeah.
Willie. And
Yeah.
I think Russ just has, like, an awesome year this summer. I
I'm
could
here
never
for it,
say
man.
a negative thing about that guy, but his best game last year was against La Familia, and it was a little, too little too late from
Too
Russ.
little, too late. That's right.
So
That's right.
I think he has a really good TBT this year. He's got back to Italy where he loves being. So I think there's going to be some really exciting players in it and some really exciting teams. We'll see if the defending champs are back and who suits up for them if they are back. Yogi Ferrell back again with the Indiana alumni team, and they got James Blackman announced the other day as well, who's
That's a
another
good one.
going to be
First
another
rounder.
great player. I mean, these teams just keep getting better and better. This will be I don't know if this will be the best team the Ville has had based on the names announced so far. I don't know if that's going to translate to even making it as far as last year, just because you never know what's going to happen.
Right.
Obviously,
Got
you
talented
guys
teams.
would hope so, but like we've seen teams lose in the first round. We've seen there's really, really good teams this year. But yeah, I'll go Preston, Scrubb, Russ, Trez, and Eric Stevenson is my like 5 guys to watch right now. And Buddy Boeheim, 6 man of the year, Buddy Boeheim.
There you go, man. Giving out all the predictions. Alan, you got anything else before we get Andrew out of here?
Yeah, I mean, just a quick question. I mean, we've seen TBT grow, immensely, obviously over the years, but more recently in the last few years, it's just blown up. Not just in Louisville, but everywhere. Where do you see it in the next, like people talk about a 5-year plan? Where do you see it in 5 years?
That's a very good question. It's hard to say it'll get bigger than 15,000 fans, Louisville versus Kentucky, Freedom Hall. I saw some stat last year that said it was the highest attended basketball game in Louisville. Number 1 was Louisville, Kentucky at the Center, which was awesome. So I guess, you get a Duke team and you have, Cooper Flags, the GM, and Jabari Parker and Jaleel Okafor are playing and Duke hosts. That's the kind of stuff, just like Donovan Mitchell came for the Ville. It's like instead of Donovan Mitchell pulled up and Spencer Dinwiddie pulled up for the Team Colorado, it's like these perennial NBA All-Stars are showing out for their teams. I don't know how many years Chris Paul, co-owners got left, but would love to see him play in TBT, obviously. But
that'd be something.
I think the answer is the Dukes and the North Carolinas and those teams. It's like Kentucky, Kansas, Louisville. Those teams are involved. Those teams have alumni teams. Like, can we get the Dukes? Can we get the North Carolinas? Can we get more of those crazy rivalry matchups? Can we get Ohio State, Michigan? Can we get Duke, North Carolina? Can we get Michigan State to put a team in and, have all of Izzo's guys who have played the last, 10 years play on that team? But I do think NIL and transfer portal hurts TBT a little bit because and it doesn't hurt TBT as much, but like there's a lot of these Louisville guys. Like there's a lot of guys from the team this year, your guys' team, like Chucky Hepburn, for example. 8 years from now, and I could be wrong, I don't think Chucky Hepburn has that same, pull as Russ Smith does and Montrezl Harrell. Obviously, Trez went to the NBA and won 6 man of the year, so it's a little different. But like, I think that era of 4-year guys is gone. So it's interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see how that impacts TBT because like Kentucky with all the Kentucky team, the fact that they like those one and done guys are so beloved with Kentucky because that's just kind of the theme there. So that's like an example of where it did work, even with guys who might have only played 1 or 2 years, but like I mean, check what needs to happen is the seniors and the guys who graduate need to play like one of their first 2 years, when they're still like in the cycle of the school.
Look, man, I would love to see Rain Smith. I think one thing that could be very beneficial for TBT in the league is getting another Kiefer Sykes. You need another guy that catches on with an NBA team and can build some steam and when you have summer league and other basketball happening around the same time that can say TBT help me get back to the league. And that's what I was really hoping for Trez and David Johnson last year. That was really kind of the big storyline here. But I also would push back a little bit on that because on your second take there, because Louisville's had Chris Jones back in the building. Louisville's had Shane Bohannon, 2 guys that played for multiple universities. I think it's all about your exit and whether, like, for example, a guy like Corin Johnson just committed to Ole Miss. I don't think anybody's going to be excited to have him back for a TBT game after the L's down picture after the transfer, right? So it's all about your exit. If you exit gracefully or if you play for a year, I think there's still an opportunity. But I do think it'd be great to get a Chucky or to get a Rain or a Terrence Edwards, somebody that can use this and say, this is an opportunity for me to showcase against former pros that I am a pro. So need more guys coming out of the league. Hey, what can our fans and our listeners, what can they do to support you? Where can they find your content? What can they do to get to subscribe? And of course, how can they go about getting tickets if they don't already?
Yeah, tbthoops.com/Louisville to get your tickets. But I mean, sounds like you probably already have them.
That's right. That's right.
If you're listening to this, but then I would say, follow Inside TBT, and TST is what the account is actually called now. We expanded it this year to do some soccer interviews.
Hey, look, when you got
TST
Michael
side
B.
of
Jordan
things.
on your social media, man, I'd be changing the name to whatever you tell me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I did get to talk to him, which was very cool.
Dude,
And,
your list of folks you get to interview, man, that's
that's
impressive,
I mean,
bro.
that's up there. Next is Trez and Michael B. Jordan. I mean, depending on who you talk to, if you're in the 502 and you're asking people who would you rather talk to,
Yeah,
I think the answer is Trez. It's all
Maybe.
what you know what I'm going to pull out another expression. What's the beauty's in the eye of the beholder?
Yeah, in the beholder. That's right.
Isn't that
That's
the
right.
expression? So also,
Yeah.
I just want to say, and then follow at the tournament as well. And of course, for your fans, if they're not already, follow at the Ville. I wasn't saying anything negative about Chucky Hepburn, by the way.
Of course
he
not.
would be
No.
awesome in TBT, but he's a 1 year guy.
Yeah.
It's the Peyton Sivas don't exist in college basketball
That's
anymore,
right.
and
That's right.
it's unfortunate. And like the guy that I think of is Bruce Thornton at Ohio State. I'm a big, like I said, Ohio State fan of my Ohio State podcast. He's going to be a 4-year guy at Ohio State. So far, 0 tournament runs. Hasn't
Right.
made the tournament.
Very
He might end
unfortunate.
up the highest. He might end up with the most points in Ohio State history. And it's like, what have you done for me lately? So it's like the eras of like Aaron Kraft, another great example, like similar to Peyton. That's the guy that you get tickets to see in TBT. So we'll see. I think it would be great if, whether it's, this year, next year, or whatever, some of those younger guys catch on for the Ville. Because I also think that, like, Kelsey's guys are, like, he's got those guys bought in. They get there and they're like.
That's why we need Rain Smith back for just one more run, man. That ankle going down, in Lexington, Rain, if you're watching, we need one more run. If you're not in the NBL or playing with Team Australia or whatever is next for you, man, there's a home for you in Louisville. Andrew, I can't ask you this, but Alan, I can ask you this, and I will ask our folks watching, listening. Let us know in the comments, tweet us, follow us on social media. Who is the guy, Alan, that you want to hear the name next? Obviously, Andrew, I want to ask you, but it wouldn't be fair because you'd give me the answer, and I don't think people would be too happy with you. Alan,
I can give you an
Okay.
answer. I
What do
can
you
give
got?
you an answer. But Alan
Okay.
first.
Yes, Alan, what do you got, man? Who's the guy?
Oh, he's already been brought up. I would love to see, and I think just his constant hinting at what's next. Today he signed with I think an agency, or he announced he did anyway. But I would love to see Rain Smith. I think his story is still unwritten here. That's what I think. I hope anyway.
Ooh,
Andrew,
that's I mean, I love that answer because we were just talking about it. But I would love Gorgie Zhang, assistant coach.
Yeah.
How about that?
Okay.
Don't
Hey.
you think people would love
Hey.
that?
Oh.
I mean that
fan favorite. Yeah.
because I mean we like tweeted like he's here and it got like 1,000 likes. Like
Yes.
people love that guy. So
Yeah.
that's my
Yeah.
pick of like. But isn't he's with the Spurs
He's
organization,
the
right?
Spurs assistant GM, I think now. So working with Pops.
Well,
man,
Chris
in the front
will
office.
bring him in. Chris will bring him.
Hey,
Get on the jet. Come to TBT.
that's
Uh-huh.
right.
You know?
That's right,
So-
man. Get them down
so
here.
that's-
That's right. Get Chris back
that's
in
my
Louisville
pick.
again. I'm here for that, man. I think that is exactly what Louisville fans want, is just more names in the building. You had Donovan Mitchell last year. Of course, you got Daryl Griffith, and the list goes on and on. Make sure you get your tickets. Make sure you follow Andrew on social media at Andrew Zoldan. Make sure you're checking out Inside TBT and TST. If you're a soccer fan, I know we got soccer fans out there. Be sure to check that out too, because that tournament is balling, man. You talk about names, celebrities. That's the one right there. TBT is our bread and butter, but TST is the good stuff over there. So make sure you check all of that out. Subscribe to Starting 502 Podcast. Presley will be mad at me if you don't. He will blame me at any point moving forward if the numbers dip slightly. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you listen to Completion. Make sure you listen to those ads. Check out State of Louisville, and we will be back soon talking more Louisville basketball. Alan, thank you, sir, for dropping in. Excited to have you covering TBT again. And ladies and gentlemen, until next time, go Cards.